Markle went under the knife before her Paris disaster trip designed to traumatize Prince Harry, with that journey through Paris emulating that of
Paris, the city of lights, love, and second chances. But for Meghan Markle, it became something else entirely. A comeback carefully timed. A public re-entry crafted to remind the world she could still command attention. New look, new styling, new energy. And yet, the moment she stepped into that Balenciaga show, the cameras didn't see reinvention. They saw revelation.
Plastic surgery? That is a question I have been asking myself after people started to point out that, hey, her nose looks a bit different in her birthday picture.
In a split second, one flash photo ignited a global conversation. Her face, the same face that had launched 1,000 magazine covers, suddenly became a battlefield of speculation. Side-by-side photos flooded social media. Before and after. Then and now. A digital jury dissecting every line, every curve, every contour as if truth could be found in pixels. What should have been Meghan's Paris redemption arc, the moment she proved she could rise above criticism, turned into a spectacle.
I'm no expert on this, but when you look at the before and after images, it starts to become...
Her new look wasn't admired, it was analyzed. The same internet that once called her radiant now whispered other words. Different, frozen, unrecognizable. And just like that, one appearance became another headline. Every frame pulled apart by online detectives, every rumor louder than the truth itself. Because in 2025, image isn't just currency, it's survival. And Meghan Markle has spent years mastering the art of reinvention. But this time, people are asking a harder question. Was Paris the moment Meghan reclaimed her image, or the moment she lost control of it?
Where I create my thumbnails that allows me to put images side by side, which I have noticed somebody already stole and posted somewhere else. But anyways, I'm going to show it to you guys. And this little bit here has seemingly...
Tonight, we break down what really happened behind those viral photos. Not the gossip, not the guesses, but the mechanics of perception. The psychology of beauty and how one runway appearance spiraled into one of the most brutal image takedowns of her career. This isn't a witch hunt. It's a story about pressure, perfection, and what happens when the spotlight you crave burns hotter than you expected. Let's start where it all began, with the photos that lit the match. It started with a single picture, blurry, overexposed, caught mid-blink. Then came another, clearer this time, harsher. Within hours, those images were everywhere. Twitter threads, Instagram carousels, YouTube side-by-sides. And just like that, Meghan Markle's Paris moment was no longer about fashion. It was about her face. Every outlet wanted a say. Every comment section turned into an autopsy table. People zoomed in on pores, slowed down frames, compared angles like forensic analysts trying to solve a mystery. One photo taken 5 years apart suddenly became a timeline of transformation. You could almost feel the shift in tone online. Not shock, but obsession. Accounts that once celebrated her style now dissected her symmetry. Influencers paused their own content to post breakdowns, showing arrows, circles, and lines across her jaw and eyes, calling out what they believed was different. It wasn't about lighting or makeup anymore. It was about proof. Proof that the woman they thought they knew had somehow changed. But the truth is, cameras don't capture reality. They bend it. The lighting inside that Balenciaga show was unforgiving. Cool, direct, and clinical. Every spotlight sliced across her cheekbones like a sculptor's blade. Harsh backlight exaggerated shadows. Flash reflection flattened texture until skin looked almost porcelain. It's the same effect that can make any celebrity look either flawless or artificial, depending on who's holding the camera. Still, perception moves faster than context. Side-by-side posts spread like wildfire. One polished royal portrait from years ago beside a paparazzi freeze frame under 1,000 watts of white light. The contrast was shocking, yes, but not because of surgery, because it reminded people how different Meghan's life has become. The internet doesn't pause to analyze why. It just sees change and fills in the blanks. Some called it evolution, others called it desperation. But beneath every headline, there was the same undertone. That fear of fading, that cruel fascination we reserve for women in the spotlight. And perhaps that's the real story hiding behind those photos. Not a secret procedure, but a reflection of how quickly admiration turns into judgment. One day, you're glowing. The next, you're unrecognizable. The same image, seen through a different lens, both literally and metaphorically. Paris didn't create that pressure, it just exposed it. Because in a world built on perception, one wrong flash can feel like betrayal. And for Meghan, that betrayal came from the very thing she once mastered, the camera. Perfect. Here's your expanded section 2, keeping the cinematic, emotional, and rival-style tone consistent. It will flow naturally from the end of section 1 and deepen the sense of strategy, pressure, and unraveling around Meghan's Paris appearance. just like a slow-burn documentary scene. Because make no mistake, this wasn't a casual outing. This was a comeback, months in the making. After silence, speculation, and a year of dwindling press, Meghan's team knew she needed a reset. Not another interview, not another podcast. A moment, a single image powerful enough to reclaim the narrative and remind the world she was still here. Relevant, radiant, unstoppable. And where better to do that than Paris? The global capital of beauty, fashion, and rebirth. The plan seemed perfect on paper. Front row at Balenciaga, a house known for drama and reinvention. A crisp white look designed to whisper elegance, not ego. Minimal jewelry, slicked back hair, confident posture. This was meant to be her princess meets power player moment. But Paris doesn't forgive tension. It exposes it. And the moment she stepped onto that carpet, something felt off. Maybe it was the lighting. That merciless blue-white glare that flattens even the most symmetrical faces. Maybe it was the pressure, the awareness that every flash held the power to rewrite months of image work. Or maybe it was the weight of expectation itself, the impossible need to look effortless while carrying the world's curiosity on your shoulders. To the cameras, she looked statuesque. To the internet, she looked changed. And in seconds, the story shifted. Balenciaga's show wasn't trending. Meghan Markle's face was. Behind the scenes, insiders say the energy in that room changed too. PR handlers huddled, phones buzzed, screens lit up with headlines before the models even finished their walk. Because that's how fast digital wildfire spreads now. A whisper on Twitter becomes a headline in London before the night ends in Paris. The irony? This was supposed to be her redemption arc, her proof that she could stand among the elite again, separate from royal drama and Netflix noise. Instead, it became a cautionary tale about control. For years, Meghan had curated every image we saw, the lighting, the filters, even the narrative that framed them. But that night in Paris, the control was gone. There was no retouching, no edit, no second take, just raw flash photography and real-time reaction. And for someone who built a career on precision, that loss of control was brutal. Fashion writers called it a daring return. Critics called it a miscalculation. And fans, they split right down the middle. Half defended her as bold and fearless. The other half saw insecurity dressed as confidence. What no one could deny was that Meghan Markle had become the story again. Not for what she said, but for how she looked. The exact thing she tried to leave behind was now the only thing people wanted to talk about. Because in modern celebrity culture, comebacks don't happen on stage anymore. They happen in pixels, under flashlights, in 15-second clips that decide whether you're reborn or ridiculed. And Paris, the city of reinvention, gave Meghan both. Here's where most videos jump the shark. They freeze a frame, label it after, and start listing procedures like a menu. That's not journalism, it's guesswork. What changes can mimic the look people debated? Weight fluctuation can sharpen jawlines and deepen mid-face shadows. Makeup placement, contour at temple, under cheek carve, lifted liner. Can tilt features. Hair direction, slicked back, exposes forehead brow architecture you usually don't see. Flash photography compresses planes and blows out texture, reading as stiff or plastic, even when it's just perspiration plus powder. Aging plus skincare. Skin gets thinner, bones show more. Ironically, youthful sculpting can read as harsher under flash. Could there be cosmetic work? Maybe. Many public figures use non-surgical treatments, but we don't know. And we won't claim medical facts from a meme. If you're here for clean analysis and not armchair diagnoses, hit the bell. We'll keep separating signal from noise. Context matters. Meghan's public image has gone through 3 distinct aesthetics. Suits era, warmer glam, visible freckles in editorial shoots, softer hairlines, more traditional TV makeup. Duchess period, minimalism, neutral palettes, softer contour, controlled photo ops, reflective finishes, the polished royal brief. California brand, lifestyle forward, bolder glam at tentpole moments, clean luxury styling, and occasionally high fashion experiments like Paris. An evolving look over a decade is normal for anyone in public life. The problem? When you re-enter at a spike, runway week, hard glam, severe light, the change feels like a jump cut, and audiences read sudden as suspicious. This wasn't just about a face, it was about expectations. A public that remembers Oprah vulnerability now seeing runway severity. A fan base primed for empathy seeing fashion chess instead. A media cycle hungry for clean arcs. Comeback or collapse. Reading the night as one or the other. And here's the truth. Women's faces in the public eye carry double the narrative load. Age naturally? Let yourself go. Appear sharper? Too much work. You can't win, which is why Paris became a lightning rod. If you're tired of the lazy gotcha culture around women's faces, share this. It tells the story without the cheap shots. If Paris was meant to be a temperature check, the reading came back, volatile. What a team usually does next. Reset palette, warmer glam, softer hair, daylight photos, not flash. Controlled interview, low conflict platform, long form tone, let expression and motion humanize still frames. Service-led outing, shift focus from appearance to action, Kids, charity, impact. Cadence control, fewer events. Better conditions, quality over volume. It's not about hiding, it's about reintroducing context, so still images stop carrying the whole story. Why did this spiral so fast? Because we don't just watch celebrities, we track them. We keep a mental scrapbook of faces, quotes, moments, and then punish any deviation from the version we liked best. But people change, styles change, faces change, cameras change, and the authenticity test we demand from public women is a rigged game. Be flawless, but don't look like you tried. The real story here isn't whether a nose looked narrow or under flash. It's how a culture trained to zoom in has lost the ability to zoom out. We know, Paris was a high-stakes appearance with severe styling and lighting. Side-by-sides amplified differences that lighting, makeup/age can heighten. Social media escalated speculation into certainty without proof. We don't know any private medical choices, any medications, procedures, or timelines, any intent beyond a strategic Fashion Week re-entry. So we'll say this clearly, speculation is not evidence. We can critique the strategy and optics without declaring medical facts about a real person. Paris didn't just reflect Meghan, it reflected us. The way we consume faces, the speed we demand reinvention, and the punishment we dish out when the edit doesn't match our memory. Cameras are ruthless, so are crowds. But the truth lives somewhere quieter, in motion, in context, in the space between a freeze frame and a full life. Maybe the lesson isn't don't change. Maybe it's don't let a single night become your whole story, because the stage will always be there. So will the mirror. What you choose to believe when they don't match, that's where the real power lives.